Over the years, we've grown to love many different game franchises. Some are old age classics that just tick that nostalgia box. Some have beloved characters that make us feel warm inside, and some, it would seem, have simply gone away and maybe will never grace our TV screens again. What happened to so many of the greats? Sure, we have some fantastic franchises right now, what with Uncharted, Halo, Call of Duty, and Forza, to name but a few. But that doesn't mean I don't want my old favourites in my hands once again. Before we get started, of course, make sure to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date with Rabbit Hole Media. This week, we're going to talk about 5 big video game franchises that just went away.
Dead Space is an action horror franchise first released back in 2008. From the desire to milk the successful teat of Resident Evil 4, Dead Space quickly became a beloved hit series in its own right. As promotional material for the release of this new IP, EA released a companion comic and animated feature to help spread awareness of the game and the world it set out to create. This seemed to do the trick, as Dead Space was lucrative enough to greenlight the development of a multitude of spin-offs and direct sequels, including an on-rail shooter for the Wii and an iOS game. However, in a shockingly uncharacteristic move, EA decided that when it was time to get to work on Dead Space 3, it needed to cater to a larger audience and be more action-focused, so that they could float on a cloud of dollar bills. As you can tell by the fact that Dead Space hasn't been seen since 2013, this didn't work. Who knew that taking a franchise loved for its horror and turning it into a co-op shooter would backfire? Oh yes, everyone other than Mr. Businessman who does business from EA.
If you've never played Bioshock, just like our very own self-proclaimed moron, Kristian, I'd personally recommend you do, and as the whole franchise has been remastered and re-released on PS4 and Xbox One, you don't really have an excuse. Bioshock is a first-person action and psychological horror game, throwing in some RPG elements and a moral choices system, even if those moral choices greatly benefited gameplay if you chose to be a dickhead. Mainly consisting of throwing lightning at crazy people, Bioshock's gameplay set itself apart from others with its use of plasmids to create intense action scenes and interesting puzzle solving. Also beloved were the iconic locations of Rapture, the underwater city run by a madman, and Bioshock Infinite's Columbia, the city in the clouds, run by a madman. Do you see a theme? Ken Levine, game director, left the franchise in 2014, stating that the stress of development had a negative impact on his health, leaving the IP in the hands of the publisher. Over the past 6 years, 2K have spoken about the next Bioshock being developed by a mishmash of internal studios, most of which are now closed. So, who knows? Maybe there's a new entry on the horizon, or maybe elephants shit happiness. Either way, would you kindly give us a new one?
Prince of Persia is a game about a prince from Persia. The title doesn't leave much to chance and was very much the Assassin's Creed of its time. Starting off back in 1989 as an action platformer, the series developed, disappeared and reappeared in the early 2000s as The Sands of Time, which truly brought the franchise into the spotlight. With its unique combat and interesting platforming puzzle sections, the game quickly became one of Ubisoft's go-to titles. However, the feature most synonymous with the game is your ability to rewind time in a moment of death or just missing a jump. And I shit you not, this feature only exists because one of the higher-ups within the studio was utter wank at the game, accidentally birthing one of the industry's most iconic features. With direct sequels, reboots, and handheld versions galore, the Prince of Persia name would continue for several years to come. However, with decreasing sales and reception, the spin-off that was last in development, Prince of Persia Assassins, can you see where this is going, was later released as Assassin's Creed in 2007. And the rest is an annualized history.
It's been 7 years since the last entry in the Splinter Cell franchise was released back in 2013, so please Ubisoft, let us take control of Sam Fisher, although ideally with the correct voice actor once again. Splinter Cell was once one of the most popular stealth franchises to grace the lives of gamers the world over, with 6 mainline titles culminating in 2013's Blacklist. The series is widely seen as one of Ubisoft's flagship franchises, along with Assassin's Creed, and as they spunk out a new one of those every year or so, it strikes us odd that they've not given Splinter Cell the same treatment. Unfortunately, despite a positive critical reception to Blacklist, poor sales seem to have marked the end of the franchise. For now at least, the todger-tickling notion of a new Splinter Cell game was teased by a Ubisoft creative director a while back. However, the rest of Ubisoft decided to destroy our dreams and state he was talking bollocks. Bollocks.
Resistance was a first-party staple for the PlayStation 3, with the first in the series Resistance Fall of Man being a launch title for the console in 2006. It's a pretty solid first-person shooter, other than triangle being jump, R3 to aim down sights, and a few other batshit control methods. 2 more mainline entries and 2 handheld spin-offs for both PSP and PS Vita came later, but the series hasn't been seen since 2012. Given that Insomniac, the game studio, now have their hands full with Spider-Man, it's perhaps fair to assume that a Resistance reboot of some form may be something we have to live without. An idea further cemented in 2018 when James Stevenson, the studio's community director, said that the chances of a Resistance 4 was a long shot, stating that neither Insomniac or Sony had had any discussions on the matter. Still, a lovely remastered trilogy collection wouldn't go amiss, eh?
As we've said, there are many franchises that have just up and fucked off over the years, including Medal of Honor, which we were going to put onto this list. But then this happened. Because of fucking course it did.
With Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, I think we're finally able to fully realize that vision from 20 years ago of putting you in the boots, allow you to see through the eyes of someone who was actually there. And that's been the most exciting and fulfilling part of the project.